Good morning, girls.
Good morning, ma'am.
Can everybody see the presentation?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Not yesterday, on Saturday, we finished with the differences between spot market and future transactions. Today, we study the last type of market that is left, which is speculative market. Most of the trades or yield exchanges are speculative, and hence speculative yield exchanges are considered and are called speculative markets. Okay, so speculative market can include product exchange and commodity exchange as well. Speculative deals are those deals intended to benefit from fluctuations in prices. So these are also basically, as the name suggests, speculative. Means the deals that are basically done with the intention of earning profit because of fluctuation in prices. These deals are future deals that are done on the basis of future forecasts. The delivery of goods is not done on the majority of these deals, but the deal is completed by taking or giving a difference of prices. These type of deals can be future options, endures and protective deals. Those who do such deals are called bookies. So the people who are managing these deals are the bookies. So basically here we are talking about the sort of betting market or the satta that is placed. Okay, here instead of placing the bets on instances like on cricket matches, etc., here they place it on by creating deals for products. Speculative deals are called by the name of the month in which the goods are delivered. So in agriculture there are different months of harvest, okay, basically, such as Vaishakh, Kartik, May and October. So these are the name of months that are used because of harvesting and sowing of crops. If we assume that the price of mustard, now this is an example, okay, if we assume that the price of mustard in the market today is rupees 3000 per quintal, and a bookmaker or a bookie estimates that the mustard price will be 3200 after 2 months, then the bookie will deal to buy in future. Suppose the bookies have made a deal to buy 100 quintals at the rate of whatever is on that particular day. The mustard after 2 months, if the mustard price rises to 3200 a quintal on the day of delivery of the goods after 2 months, then the bookies will get a profit of 20,000. So for 100 quintals, 200 rupees per quintal they will receive. Okay, so this is how speculative deals are usually done. Then characteristics. What are the characteristics of speculative market? These are future deals. So they are deemed to be carried out on a future date. Such deals are settled at a future date, which is settled at the time of making the deal. So when on the day of making the deal, it is decided when the actual deal will be closed. The purpose of these deals is not to take the delivery of the actual goods. Then these deals are done for the purpose of taking advantage of difference in prices. In the future, there is a gain on one side and loss on the other side when the price varies, but when the prices are the same on both sides, neither side gains or loses. Okay, so if there is fluctuation, only then the gain or loss would be decided. If there is no change, then the deal is null and void. These deals take place only in fixed markets, which are called as organized markets. These speculative deals are done in standardized items only. So standardized items means of when the grades and standards are decided, only then only those items are included in these type of markets. Now standardization and grading we will study in the next unit, in the 5th unit. Then the deals are based on future forecasts. So obviously the person or the bookie who is actually performing the deal should be able to forecast whether the price would increase or fall. These deals are only in goods whose demand is wide. So the products that are high in demand, only those products are dealt with here, because there is a higher probability that their price may rise. Then the difference in prices is equal to the difference between the prices of the transaction date and the market value of the delivery of goods. So this point can be understood by this example that I have just explained it to you. Okay, so the difference in the prices is the difference on the day that the deal is made and the day of the delivery of the goods. Then advantages of speculation. What are the benefits? Wide marketing area. This expands the area of marketing of goods. So here the deals can be expanded, means not only the people who want to consume the goods, but other people can also invest in these products. So the demand obviously increases. Mobility of capital. So as more and more people invest in these products, more capital is invested and there is a higher possibility for the producer to earn. Then duplex protection. To avoid future uncertainties, the trading class can do duplex protection deals with speculators and run their business according to plan. So in this case, they can also be safe by creating counter deals with people, with other people, so that if they have a chance to lose in some transactions, they may also gain in other transactions. Okay, so there is a there will be a balance in the loss and profit that they incur. Then price stability. There is a balance between demand and supply by the behavior of the bookies, which neither increases the price nor decreases, because the price increases are very likely to increase and the price will see, this is very confusing. So price stability basically means that because of so many transactions, the prices is held stable, and because of the demand and supply interaction, price is not that fluctuating. Okay, only other factors can be influencing the price of the product. Then prediction of future changes. So depending on the number of bookings that are made, the future can be predictive, that whether people are investing in a product, then obviously that means that that product will have a higher demand, and the price may also considerably rise in order to bring the demand down. Then So this ends the topic. Next we have channel of distribution. Now channel of distribution we have to study in three respects. Okay, one is for consumer goods, second is for agriculture raw material, and for agricultural commodities. Okay, so we'll study the delivery products, the channels of the distribution for all the three. Okay, so agriculture consumer goods and agriculture raw material. Okay, let's start. So channels of distribution, I hope everybody has at some point of time studied what channel of distribution is. Can somebody explain in short? What do you mean by channels of distribution? No? Okay. So
Ma'am, the medium through which goods are distributed.
Yes, very good. So channels of distribution are the various methods that a producer can use in order to send the goods from production unit to the consumption point. Okay. So manufactured goods. The goods coming in sale are usually of three types: raw materials from nature, materials from agriculture, and manufactured goods. So basically goods can be of three basic types. Either they are manufactured goods that are produced in factories, or they are materials or products that or goods that are from agriculture or agriculture produce, or raw material that is coming from agriculture. Okay, so material means that it may be consumer goods from agriculture, or it may be producer goods from agriculture. Okay, so producer goods means agricultural products which are used in the production of other products. Then the goods which are sold in the manufactured state are called manufactured goods. The goods manufactured for consumers are called manufactured consumer goods. So manufactured goods would include all types of goods that are manufactured or created or produced in a factory, a production unit. But some of them are the goods that are directly consumed by the consumer. So they are manufactured consumer goods. The goods which are made for industries are called industrial goods, such as machinery, motors, etc. Okay, so there are two types of manufactured goods. One are industrial manufactured goods and consumer manufactured goods. Then channel of distribution in India can be divided into the following two parts: agriculture goods and manufactured goods. Okay, so basically we have divided the channels into two basic categories. Now agriculture commodities. The distribution of agricultural commodities is through first the wandering trader, second the wholesale or agent, third the cooperative societies, and retail trader. Okay, there may be others, like maybe the retailer appoints a door-to-door vendor. Okay, so there can be more, but these are the basic four. Wandering trader means a trader that brings the product directly from the production unit and distributes it by going from place to place. Then manufactured goods. In relation to manufactured goods, the following type of distribution is adopted. In the first distribution medium, the manufacturer reaches the consumer directly through its shops. Okay, so first distribution medium can be that the manufacturer reaches the consumer directly from its stores or shops. Okay. Secondly, in this distribution medium, the company appoints a vendor as its sole distributor, and these distributors sell only the company's goods at the prices fixed by the company. So like branded showrooms that we have, like Hyundai showroom. So Hyundai showroom would only sell Hyundai cars, okay, not any other company cars. Then In the third type of distribution, the company appoints authorized vendors who sell the company's product at a fixed price, and for this they get a fixed percentage commission. Okay, so in the third part, here also the company has appointed authorized dealers. Okay, so they are not under the ownership of any private owner. The showrooms are set up by the company itself. Then channels of distribution for manufactured goods. Now here we have in detail listed how it can be used, the various channels. The main methods of distributing manufactured consumer goods are as follows. Manufacturer to consumer. In this method, sales are very low. So when we are distributing directly, the manufacturer distributing directly to the consumer means they have to reach each and every consumer one by one. So it may take a little more time and obviously more investment, but the price would be lower and the profit margin may be higher. Then as buyers are spread all around, it is not possible for the manufacturer to reach all the consumers. Items that are produced in small quantities can be sold directly to the consumer. Okay, so these type of this is the first channel of distribution that can be used for manufactured consumer goods. Okay, then so these are products that you can directly buy from the manufacturer's website or from the factory outlet. Then manufacturer to retailer to consumer. So this method is used more. Manufacturer keeps sending the retailer whatever they need. The departmental store purchases the goods directly from the manufacturer. It is sold in large quantities. Okay, then thirdly, manufacturer to wholesaler to retailer and consumer. This is the biggest means of selling consumer goods. So all the goods that we can purchase from a grocery store or from convenience store, all the goods come under this category of channel of distribution. In big cities, wholesaler purchases large quantities of goods and keep on selling small quantities of goods gradually to retailers as required. Okay. Next, manufacturer to intermediate agent to the consumer. This is considered to be the longest route. In this, the manufacturer is a middleman who solves sales problems using agent services. There are many types of agents and they work on a commission basis. So here you can best understand this type of channel of distribution by the product like Avon products or Oriflame products. Okay, they are usually distributed through this type of channel. Then next we come to agriculture consumer goods. Agriculture consumer goods means goods that are directly consumed by consumers, like food grains, fruits and vegetables fall mainly in this category. Today every consumer consumes these three agricultural products. Okay, so we all have interaction with food grains, fruits and vegetables. Today all the developed and semi-developed countries of the world depend on agriculture for their food needs. Even after so much development, no alternative of agriculture consumer goods has been discovered. Okay, so we cannot replace vegetables, fruits or food grains with anything else. Okay, it has to be grown in the traditional way and has to come from wherever it used to come since it has started being produced. Then every person consumes food grains in one form or the other, which is the main part of agriculture consumer goods. Today, in every part of India, wheat, rice and pulses are consumed by every person in some form or the other. Agriculture helps us in providing food. Following is the description of major agriculture consumer goods. Okay, so we'll see one by one what are the things that are included in each category and what is the usage. Now I have listed down detailed notes for each of these food grains and agriculture products for you all to read and have more matter to discuss or study, but we do not need to study each and everything. Okay, so we'll quickly go through it, but you all should read through because this is extra matter for you all to understand and read, because you will need to write more. So we'll start with food grains. Agriculture consumer goods mainly include food grains. We are describing the major food grains below. Like first is wheat. So wheat is mostly used throughout the country. Okay, maximum usage of wheat is done in northern India. And wheat can be used to make other products as well, like refined flour or maida, then semolina. Semolina means suji, and flour, which is atta. Okay, and other products also come out of it, like dalia, etc. Okay, so that is wheat. Then next is rice. So rice is also the second most staple food of the country. After wheat, rice is mostly consumed. Okay, rice is consumed all over the country, even all over the world, and some of the best quality of rice is exported from India to other parts of the world. So rice is also a staple food for most countries. Then pulses. So pulses include all types of lentils. Okay, lentils means dal. Any kind of dal is included in pulses, like tur dal, urad dal, moong dal. Then gram means chana. Okay, lentils are basically the green dal that we have. Okay, so pulses are also included. So here the thing is that pulses are not that high in production. We are not able to increase the production of pulses even after the use of green revolution products like pesticides, fertilizers, higher yielding variety of seeds, and that is why pulses are becoming more expensive. The price is continuously increasing. Then millets include many others, but mostly used are jowar and bajra. Okay, so these are millets. These are also included in grains, but used for different purposes. These are not as highly in demand as wheat, rice and pulses, but they also have a huge market. So it is used as a food item in the country. It is also an agriculture consumer product. Jowar is produced in a very limited quantity in the country, and it is consumed by the public in a limited quantity as food grains. So some people get it grinded, mixed with their wheat. Okay, so it is good for health, fibrous. It is produced only in a few states in the country. Then bajra. Bajra is also an agriculture product which is used as food grain. It is consumed in limited quantities in some parts of the country, and its production is also done in limited quantities in Haryana, Rajasthan, Punjab, Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh. Okay, and then comes the other food grain. So this would include every other food grain that we have not discussed till now, like any small or not that good variety of rice, then peas, soya, rajgir, etc. All these things are included. Makki is also, maize is also included in this. Then comes non-food grains. So non-food grains would include fruits and vegetables and spices. Okay, so this is also a very huge chunk of agriculture produce that is consumed in the country. Everybody consumes vegetables and fruits because it is important for us to consume these for getting the right kind of minerals, vitamins. Okay. Apart from grains, other substances are also obtained from agriculture which are consumed by the public. Therefore, these agricultural consumers will also come under the category of goods. In this category, mainly fruits and vegetables will be kept. Today in the country, many types of fruits are obtained from agriculture. The main ones are papaya, mango, then jam is also a type of fruit. Berries, grapes, apples, plum, chiku, oranges, mosambi, pomegranates. Okay, everybody knows what pomegranates are?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Good. They are produced in a they are produced a little in all the states of the country. They are also used extensively by the general public. Some fruits occur in certain states, while some fruits occur in all the states and the of the country. Apart from fruits, we get various types of vegetables from farming, which are used extensively by the public. It is also an agriculture consumer product. Today, different types of vegetables are grown in all the states of the country. Next comes the number of agriculture consumer goods of various types of spices that we get from agriculture itself. The main spices produced by agriculture are turmeric, chili, cumin, fennel. So turmeric is haldi, chili is obviously mirchi, cumin is jeera, fennel is saunf, rye is sarson, ajwain, and fenugreek. Fenugreek is methi. Okay. They are also consumed on a very wide scale. They are produced in a few states in the country. Okay, so these do not grow everywhere, and India is the largest producer of good quality spices in the entire world. Okay, so we produce the best quality of spices. Okay, then lastly we come to agriculture raw material. So agriculture raw materials is also used from agriculture, also received from agriculture for various industrial businesses. Its prime examples are, we'll see the main products that come from agriculture but are used as raw material for other manufactured goods, like sugarcane. So sugarcane is used to produce sugar, jaggery, and bura, etc. Okay, and basically usually the most amount of sugarcane is grown in Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, and Punjab. Then cotton is also one of the most used raw material for textile industry. Every textile industry needs cotton. Okay, so cotton is used to make thread or yarn for textile industries, and it is a commercial crop. Commercial crop means it can be sold at a very good prices, so farmers are more interested in growing it. Then it is mainly produced in Gujarat, Maharashtra, Punjab, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Madhya Pradesh, and some other states. Then next we come to jute. Jute is also an agriculture raw material. The entire jute industry depends on this. So everybody knows what jute is?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. So bora that we get, the sacks, they are made of jute. It is a very fibrous material and can be used to sew more sturdy kind of bags for grains, etc. Many items made from jute which is used by us. India has a monopoly before the division of jute production. Half of the total production of jute in India is produced in West Bengal, fourth in Assam, and fifth in Bihar. Some production is also done in Orissa, Uttar Pradesh, and Tripura. Then comes oil seeds. So oil seeds are any kind of seeds that can be crushed to extract oil from it, like soybean seeds, groundnut, mustard. Then rayada is also a kind of oil seed. Then sunflower. Okay, so these are all the type of oil seeds that are used as raw material for oil producing industries. Then tea. Obviously, tea is grown in some parts of the country, and India is also one of the largest exporter of tea, good quality tea in the world. Some of the world's best flavors of tea are produced in our country, in Assam, Darjeeling. Okay. India is the second largest producer of tea in the world. India is tea is an agriculture raw material based. Tea cultivation is done in hilly slopes where there is no water in India. Tea is produced in places like Assam, Bengal, Uttar Pradesh, etc. Okay, then there is tobacco. Then food processing industry, like food processing would include making of jams, jellies, pickles. Okay, all these kind of things is included in food processing industry. So they also require raw material from agriculture backgrounds. Then pharmaceutical industry. Pharmaceutical means medicines. Okay, the production of medicines. It also uses a lot of ingredients from the agriculture background, such as white radish, ashwagandha, parsley, fennel, etc. Okay. Then agro-based industries. Agriculture raw materials are used in these industries. Many agro-based industries are established in India. All of them get their raw material from agriculture system itself. So agro-based industries would include everything else that we did not cover in the previous topics. So it may be production of some kind of eco-friendly goods, paper industry. Okay, then eco-friendly paper, any kind of eco-friendly bags or product packing units. Okay, all these could be included in agro-based industry. All right, is that clear to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So this brings us to the end of the third unit. From tomorrow we will start with the fourth unit. Okay, please read through whatever I've taught you today. Okay, please just go through or read once every day what we study in class, so that it will leave an impression in your mind, and so that you'll be able to remember it better.